She's an award-winning writer, a hunting guide, archery and rifle instructor, keynote speaker, and all-around outdoors woman who encourages you to get outside, hunt, fish, shoot, and savor all that life has to offer. And now, here's your host, Mia Anstine.
Well, hey, hi, hello, you all. Thanks for stopping by and tuning in to the Mac Outdoors podcast. I'm happy that you're here. If it's your first time tuning in, thank you. I hope you enjoy the show. And if you do, I hope you'll subscribe for future episodes and share with friends and family. For those of you who have been longtime listeners, thank you so much. As always, I do appreciate you being here. Today, I have a very special guest that it's my first time visiting with him, and I'm excited to share him with you. But also, ironically, we link to an old episode. So if you are cruising along, I hope you won't tap the show notes. I do mention like tuning into YouTube. Don't do that while you're driving. You can watch the video on YouTube at a later date if you want to. There are a couple of pictures and videos in there that we do reference, so you can check those out. But, anyways, without further ado, I hope you enjoy this show and you can reach us on social media outlets or email contact@miaanstine.com if you have any feedback, suggestions, or questions.
This summer, whether at the range or in the field, WSI Sports Hypertech bamboo tanks, tees, and leggings will have you covered. Visit WSISports.com to support the show and use the affiliate code MACO10 for 10% off your purchase. All products are proudly made in the USA. WSI is bringing back pride in American-made clothing. Again, that code is MACO10 for 10% off your order at WSISports.com.
Hey guys, are you looking for a stylish concealed carry shirt? Check out Tarn Cap Gear. With print reducing patterns, concealed carry snaps, and minimal branding, Tarn Cap's cloak of invisibility is what you have been waiting for. Visit mia.limited/tarncap and use the code Anstine for 10% off your purchase. Again, that's mia.limited/tarncap and use code Anstine for 10% off your order.
All right, everybody. I am super excited to have another guest with me today, and I am ready to learn a lot about the Able Outdoors and Chad. And it's my first time visiting with Chad, so there's so much for me to figure out, and I hope that we can share a bunch of good news with you. So, Chad, welcome to the Mac Outdoors podcast. Will you please introduce yourself to my audience?
Sure. I'm Chad Walliger. I'm from Texas. I'm the most important things about me is almost a lifelong quadriplegic, and I'm also I was an outdoorsman first. So, and when that happened, I didn't want that to quit. So, and I hate to lose. So I had a lot to do yet. So I I continued my career in the outdoors, being disabled, and as it kind of came along. We'll talk about that later. I know it just kind of blossomed and grew, and here we are, 30 years later, on the cusp. Today's actually the day where we have an outdoor show premiering on Carbon TV. So it's been a long time coming. So I've got a couple of degrees. Don't use them very much. I have a wildlife and fisheries science. I use that because I love nature, and then I have a counseling degree, which I just kind of use as a hobby. I like to help people out whenever I can. Some of it's some of it's after they've gone through trauma. Some of it's in the outdoors when I take them out with me. I think that's the best therapy in the world, and I'm going to keep doing that. And we're going to reach as many people as we can. So that's basically my whole mantra right now.
Right. So you want to help other people that have, do we call it disabilities now? I'm an outdoor writer, and recently the AP style book told me that I couldn't use special needs. So I take youngsters from the special education class on horseback rides, and they said I can't say that anymore. So I'm like, oh my gosh, what are the appropriate terms to use for somebody who's a quadriplegic or if they have some other situation going on?
You're asking the wrong person because I'm from the politically incorrect era. I I think disability is going to be there forever. I know people frown on handicap. Yeah, I don't use that. I I've kind of morphed into able sportsman and able this, able that, but I say disabled hunters all the time. I mean, it's just the disabled hunting world community. I mean, if you get hung up on word, I tell people, what I don't care what words you use, it's not going to change my lifestyle any. So
Yeah.
don't
Okay.
worry.
Well,
About,
I don't want to offend you because I obviously am just meeting you. So I would like to figure out the words. And especially, like I said, we've been doing horseback rides for these youngsters for quite a while. I mean, for over a decade. And all of a sudden I saw that news, like I can't call them special needs, but that's their class was called special ed. So I don't know. But that's a different episode, I suppose.
you get rid of all the words, what are we going to use? I don't get it.
I don't know. But I was excited when you asked to come on the show because I work with a lot of different programs with mentoring and helping, and I used to guide and outfit full time, but now we do a lot of stuff with veterans, disabled veterans, and different people who need help in the outdoors. So I was excited that, like, this is your mission and what you want to do. And today is the debut of the Able Outdoors show on Carbon TV. So I'm just super excited. This episode isn't going to air for about 5 or 6 days. So for those listening, it's already going to be up there and ready to go. But you said that you have been disabled for a while, but you were already a sportsman. I know you're probably going to show it in the show, so don't give any spoilers, but can you tell us a little bit about how you came to be the able outdoorsman?
Sure.
Able sportsman?
Sport. When I got injured, it was 1986. I was 17, and the internet was a baby when I got out. There was no information on adaptive hunting or fishing or how to do any of that. So I was like, okay. I came home on Halloween night. I was like, I told my mom, I was like, can I just postpone my senior year of high school because we got things to work out hunting and fishing wise. She's like, yeah, sure, why not? So I I took a year off and did, my dad kind of helped me. We got out and we went hunting, tried to go deer hunt, just sitting in the truck. And I kind of figured I had a stupid little device from the rehab that you wrote with, and it fit on your hand and finger. And I was like, I think I can pull the trigger with that. So I've told this story a lot. I tried, it worked. I could pull the trigger, but it wasn't any good. We, we seemed like every time we went out and tried something, we failed, which was so, I love it now because that's such a rich environment for learning. What you need to do is to get out there and fail first. But I mean, it was trying times in because it just seemed like it was so important to succeed, to just to say, okay, I'm going to be able to do this again. So it wasn't till then, you know, I'm, I'll be laying up at nights thinking, okay, that got close to working. What do we need to do to fix it? And that just morphed into creating my own adaptive equipment, and slow, little by little, the next year it would, each little thing would work. I got to shoot a deer, and the hardest thing to do was shoot a shotgun. That's kind of my first love, is wing shooting. And I tell people now, I was like, that are in the rehab that want to come hunt, I was like, if you can wing shoot, you can do anything because it's the most difficult. Which I love it the most because it's so challenging. So we just, after that I started a website called Follow Me Outdoors where you had to write the code, and I was copying and pasting code from other sites because I didn't want to write it all, and just started writing and building that on just stuff that I was doing. And then every once in a while, a place would pop up that had some adaptive hunting or adaptive equipment, and I would put it all on one site just so people could find it. And then I started going to the rehab to. They called me back in. They were like, "Our patients are asking about outdoor stuff, and you're the only one we know who's doing it. Can you come in and visit?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." So I would go. I still do that to this day. I go and mentor people at that rehab, and I get new recruits that way. So they're just looking for hope. They just want to know, okay, this is my injury level, and this is what, they're like, am I going to be able to do it again? And I'm like, yeah, yes. So there's a way for every little thing now. I mean, it's been 38 years. I probably know about everything there is out there adaptive equipment wise. And there is something for everyone if they want to do it. And we have some of the stuff for people to try. And if not, the higher quad stuff, I'm very lucky. I'm a C7 quad. That basically that means I have triceps, which means life is a lot easier. I can transfer myself and I can live independently a lot easier. C5, you lose your triceps, 6 and 5. So I'm very lucky. So basically, I had a lot of help, a really good support system doing everything I wanted to do. So I have to give back. I try to give back to everybody else whenever I can.
It's interesting that you say that because it's been a while back, but in episode 98, I had a woman on the podcast. Her name was Lynette, and she was in a vehicle, it flipped, and she became, I believe she was paraplegic. I would have to go back and re-listen, and maybe I should re-listen to that episode. But she was looking for tools for hunting because she was able to find a chair, which I see in your background there. And for the listeners, if you're driving, if you hop over to YouTube, you'll be able to see the video. But she found a motorized chair to help her with an elk hunt in New Mexico.
That was me.
And
Our hunt.
did you help her with that?
Yeah, that was a Naval Outdoors show.
Oh, awesome. So this is what I was getting to is I wanted to ask you, that hunt was part of Able Outdoors?
Yes,
Wow.
met
Yay.
at a. I was helping a guy who started Disabled Outdoorsman USA in Texas, and I went to a banquet there, and she was there, and she's higher quad, and she was like, okay, this is the first time I met her. I was like, all right, what do you want to do? She's like, I hadn't hunted in like 20 years, and I used to love it. And I was like, all right, because I was like, this is what we're doing. We're going to put in as a group for New Mexico because they have special mobility impaired seasons. So I had about 15 people put in, hoping we would draw one or two because the odds are hard to draw. And she drew, and I was like, okay, Lynette, first of all, I've been putting in for 20 years for this unit that you drew and never drawn it because it's like the holy grail. It's like 16D in the Gila in New Mexico.
Yeah.
And all the elk hunters out there know what that means. And she didn't. She's never been on a hunt like that. I was like, look, she's used to hunting deer sitting in a deer stand. I was like, it is not going to be like that. And so we got that Outrider USA Coyote and got her out there in the mountains, and she loved it. It was difficult. She missed a couple elk, but she finally got one. That's one of the coolest things in the world is to hunt elk, air quotes, on foot. And that you'll see in that episode, it'll be out in probably a month or month and a half. That's one of the coolest ones.
Okay. And so this is so exciting because it's really cool to connect the dots to who she was speaking about, which was you, and how she came to that hunt. But so with your whole Able Outdoors, you're looking for people to help. Is that how we're looking at the whole thing? And then that ends up evolving into what now is your TV show?
Yes. Well, I started, we still do it every year now. I started a teal hunt here in Texas. We have early teal season in September, and I have a group. I'll have as many people as I can get. I've got people down here who'll donate duck ponds, and I'll get as many able hunters around as I know that want to come. Some of them are new, some of them it's their first hunt, and some of them they've been with me every year. So it's it's good to combine everyone because you can share ideas, and it's just a great time to get together. And from that, I love hosting that. I get to guide. I've got a gun dog now, so I get to guide hunters, and that kind of got me thinking. You know what? The more people I can reach, how are we going to reach more people? First, it started out writing some articles that got in mainstream magazines, just outdoor magazines. And as you know, it's not easy to get in those unless you kill something big, really big. I mean, even if you have a great story, you have to kill a big animal or go on a really cool hunt. And it and a lot of people are, they don't, they're missing. I was People were falling through the cracks. I couldn't reach them. So it's one of the great things about social media. I'm easier to find, and I find people all the time now. And I'm like, you want to come hunt? What do you want to do? What's your disability? What do you need? And where do you want to go? And I'm lucky. I've just been hurt so long and done so much that I have that. I can just give them the tools and kick them out of the nest and send them on to other people and say, go do it. And
I
some
love that analogy.
people I just have come and hunt with me. So on the show, somebody just asked me recently, how do you choose people to go on the show? And I'm like, you know what, that it just kind of happens organically sometimes. We're all like Lynette. When I met Lynette, I wanted to do an elk hunt in New Mexico and film that because I knew it'd be super cool. I was pulling for me in the draw. I didn't get it, but I knew it'd be super cool just to do that. It would be a great show, and it was. And we're gonna do it again someday because I wanna stalk an elk on foot with my bow, and with that outrider, it's a 4 electric hub drive, so it's makes no noise at all. And as you know, that's what it's going to take to get
Mhm.
close to an elk in the mountains. So I've got so many ideas to use with that. But the more I got off of the rails, though, just finding Lynette and she drew, and I was like, that's going to make a great show. But it could have been any number of 15 people, or I'll meet someone that I met a guy who's like, let's go. He's like, I go every year to Florida to Osceola hunt, and he had been recently injured. I was like, and he wants to do the Turkey Grand Slam. I was like, let's do that on the show. Let's go get all four eventually. So we did a show out in Florida that we hadn't produced yet. We filmed it, just something like that, and we're going to reach so many people because everybody has a different disability, and I want to show how they take on stuff, especially being newly injured, how it's really difficult for people to come rolling out of the rehab and go right outdoors and succeed. But you can do it easier now with my help because I could tell them what to do and some of the equipment. But I tell them, I was like, sometimes it's going to take a year or two. It's going to be a process, especially if their injuries higher up. I was like, don't give up. We'll get there eventually. So that's basically it in a nutshell. That's why we're doing this stuff. But I love it. I've always wanted to do an outdoor show. The outdoor shows, in my opinion, are really annoying me. Just uh, especially when they have someone with a disability on, because they'll just stick them in a stand and let them shoot, and then pull them till their animal, and that's all they show. And I'm like, I'm so insulted by that because there's so much more they could be showing. Like, how did you do all this stuff? What I want to see the adaptive equipment. I want to see the preparation. I want to see what y'all did after. It it implies that a disabled hunter can't do anything but pull the trigger. So that's the insulting part to me. I'm not really insulted, a little bit. I just don't like that. That's the way they've been doing. And I I got I contacted Ashley, who's my co-host. I was like, Ashley, we got to do something about this. I, I said, I'm 55. We need to do something pretty quick before I lose my look, so we can, do a show. And she was on board with everything I wanted to do. So she found our camera guy, and we just went from there.
And that's awesome. I find it so inspiring. I mean, a lot of what I do is try to inspire other people and encourage them. And I mean, what you're doing is inspiring because you're showing people that they can do more than just sit in a stand and pull a trigger, or they aren't just relegated to one area. They can actually go to an elk and go spot and stalk an elk and stuff like that. And that's just incredible. And I just am so excited for you and for the people that may be watching the show. Through the show, is that kind of your goal, is to show the whole story, but to encourage people to get out there? I mean, is that the main goal?
Definitely. And to see how we do it. the how is the real. That's the interesting part to me. I love variety, and I never thought about it before we started filming, but we started telling everybody else's story, but I mean, we tell ours a little bit, and I'm sure there's going to be a couple shows where it's just, it's going to be my hunt or Ashley's hunt, but we try to take someone with us, one or two people, and tell their stories, which is, I love that part. It's different every week. I mean, every time we do something, it's going to be different. I need a balance.
Yeah, balance. And I mean, for you being able to go out there, I mean, like you said, you were praying that maybe you would get the elk hunt, but Lynette got it. You still get to have the experiences through someone else's adventure, right?
For sure. Uh, just being out there, I like our group teal hunt is next weekend, so I won't be shooting. I'm gonna be out just running my dog and setting it all up, and we're actually gonna be. There's a lady coming from Lafayette, Louisiana, who's higher quad, and she's never wing shot before. So this is gonna be a real challenge for her. So it's gonna be fun for me to get her shooting and try to get out there. It's gonna be tough to get her shooting on one day and then have her hunt the next morning, but it's doable. But it's just gonna get the ball rolling for her, and
Yeah.
then we'll
And
have
what
six or
kind of
seven.
adaptive equipment will she need?
She'll need. There's a special shotgun rig called zero gravity, and it
Okay.
basically takes the weight of the gun away. So you're just kind of swinging it around. So the people, because the higher you go up quad wise, the less strength you have in your arms.
Mhm.
The less strength you have in your arms, everything has to be in a little closer to you, and you obviously cannot shoot the gun like normally, like hold it. Like once again, yet if you have triceps, you can do it, but with the zero gravity rig, it's so awkward. You just have to get used to it and practice with it. So it's gonna be fun getting her out.
That is cool. I wanna watch all the episodes so that I can show them to my hunter ed students that think they can't shoot a shotgun.
Actually, on our very first show today, we're on turkey hunting, and there's a kid named DJ, and he's got that zero gravity rig. It's in the show, so you'll be able to go look at it. And he's trying to shoot a turkey with it. He didn't get one. Spoiler alert! But we're, he's going to be one of those guys. It's going to take a while to
Mhm.
get him, because he's not only is he a higher break, one he can only move one arm halfway well. The other one is really impaired. So, but we'll get there. We'll get there, and it's going to be great. He
And
was
I think that's an important message for people to understand is that it's hunting, not killing. Otherwise, we'd kill something every time we were out there. Sometimes it takes a while. And I think a good thing with a turkey or different birds is you do have normally a few opportunities. So that is welcoming, that's a good thing. And hopefully being inspired by you, then that person will want to keep going and try again.
Well,
So
he loved it. He loved being
awesome.
out there, and he actually. This happens sometimes where we'll go on a hunt with somebody who's a first time post injury, and nothing will work, and then a couple months later they'll be hunting, and they'll like, he took a deer that first fall after I brought him some little, the basic nothing cheap equipment. I was like, here, you try with this, you start with this before you buy something expensive. And he actually killed a deer his first time out. But wing shooting is really tough for him. But he loved being out there just like we did. We saw a turkey. He was like, this is the coolest thing. And he's been on my teal hunt. He's got a pressure wound right now, which will lay you up for 6 months to a year. So I tell everybody, like, take care of your skin. Get out as much as you can. Take care of your skin. Those are two huge things. It's tough. It's tough to lay in bed, to be stuck in bed for, especially when you're a young man or young lady.
Yeah, I cannot imagine. But I think it's great what you're doing. I was going to ask you, you mentioned your co-host a couple times and you said Ashley. Is that Ashley Lindwall?
It is.
Oh, okay.
I think I set y'all two up for Did y'all ever get together for a podcast?
We have not. I mean, I've known Ashley for a long, long time, and I haven't seen her in a while. But when you said Ashley and you have Able Outdoors, I'm like, it must be Ashley Lundwall. I should have
We,
her on though. Is she a Diana Award winner? And she's done a lot with the hunting industry.
I don't think I don't think she is. You
Okay,
know,
we'll have her on the show and visit
she
with
got
her.
she got into hunting after her injury
Yeah,
because of her husband. So I kind of drug her down here to go on our teal hunt whenever we filmed it. She was like, "I don't want to shoot shotgun." I was like, "Yes, you do. Come down here. It's fun." So she loved it. She brought her daughter too for the first episode you'll see tonight. Her daughter's precious, and she was her. I don't want to spoil everything for you, but it's just cool to get the family involved. It's you never know which way it's going to go, and that's the way it went. So we like that's fun for me. We just get out there and do it and see what happens.
oh, that's awesome. I love it. Get out there and do it.
I
That's so
needed some
cool.
woman power on the show. I was like, Ashley, you're it.
Very
Everybody,
cool.
I said everybody's gonna think we're married, but no. She lives up in Cody, Wyoming.
Yeah, and I've seen I want to say that that might be the last time I saw her was at the Wyoming Women's Antelope Hunt. It's been a while,
I
like
want to film
8 or 9 years ago.
because
Huh?
sometimes she gets to host a this enable huntress on that, and I'm like, that would be an awesome show. So it's on my list. It's on my list
Yeah,
to go up there or just send our camera producer guy up there and let him film a show up there with Ashley.
that is so cool. And where are you located?
I am an hour southwest of Houston,
By
Texas,
Houston. Okay.
rice
So
field country.
nice. Which is why you've got teal season coming up. The teal hunt must start like September 14th this year.
14th.
Yeah. See, I used to attend a group hunt, and that was my birthday present to myself because my birthday is September 16th. And so every year I would go on this women's hunt for the early teal. And if for the listeners, if you have not hunted teal, it is awesome. They're super fast flyers. So I can't wait to see a show about teal hunting. But down there, it's just a totally different environment than where I am in Colorado, or maybe where Ashley is in Wyoming.
Oh, for
Different type of hunting. So I can't wait to see that. With that, will you'll be using this zero gravity rig and that'll be in the show?
well, it's not in. Oh, it is in the teal hunt show because DJ's in it, so it's in that one too. You'll be able to see it. It's not my design. I ripped it off from a guy in Wisconsin that it came up on my Facebook, an older man, because I was trying to figure it out for years how to do it, and we came up with a couple of different ways that worked. But I wanted a compact way that kind of fit on your chair, and he had it. And when I saw that, I like hear the angels singing. I'm like, dude, I need your number. I need to. I was like, we make me one of those. He's like, sure, I'll make one. I just need you just pay for the materials. I said, good. I need one because my guys down here that are recreated, they need to have it. They need to be able to put their hands on it. So he had a cool. He pheasant hunts with it. I'm gonna say, his name is Clifford Pfeiffer. So
Clifford Pfeiffer.
shout
Hmm.
out to him because if he ever sees this, I don't know if he does, but he's helped a lot of people already, and he doesn't even know it.
Oh, I bet he has an idea, but it'd be awesome if he can see your show and even see how far it's going and how many people he's helping. I think that is so outstanding. It's incredible. What other hunts do you have coming up this fall?
Oh my god. I was on. It's all bird hunt. I missed all my draws.
Oh,
I've been drawing, putting it for Utah because Disabled Outdoorsman USA has a Utah chapter, and those guys they hunt big elk and big mule deer. They're legit, and I want to go shoot a show out there so bad, and I keep missing, but I'm getting close. I have about 7 points built up, so it's about to happen. And so I missed that. And I happened to be on a podcast with a guy who's a goose hunter up in Western New York State. And he's like, "Why don't you come up and goose hunt with me?" I was like, "Well, I can't come in September, but because they have an early season that where they shoot all the local birds." And he's
Mhm.
like, "You know what? The second season's at the end of October, the last weekend. That's when we get the migrant birds down." I was like, "Done." I was like, "I'll find somebody to drive up there with me." I've always wanted to go after those big Canada geese. And I have a young pup in training who I'm gonna go get next weekend just to so he can hunt teal. It's gonna be his first hunt, and I'll be able to take him maybe if I want to, because they go to boot camp for 6 months.
Yeah. Right?
He's only been there about 2.5, but he's ready to, he can go hunt. He just, he can't do the special stuff, but I'm going to take him with me. I might take him up there too. I've got an older girl who's my superstar dog, so she'll be going for sure. But that's probably the biggest hunt. You know, I love big game. It's just harder to draw.
Right.
I've been building up points in Wyoming. People people get in touch with me all the time. They're like, "Okay, how do we go big game hunting out west?" I'm like, "Well, you either got to buy a landowner tag if you got a lot of money, or you're going to be putting in the draw and just trying to draw and wait." So that sometimes you got to bide your time. And antelope, I love antelope because it's a little easier to draw if you want to go, especially in Wyoming. There's some places you can draw almost every year and go DIY. Yeah, New Mexico's some places are a little easier. It just depends on what people want to do. They want to just go after something and be able to go hunt, which sometimes I do too. I'm like, let's just go antelope hunt in Wyoming. I don't care if it's going to be a big one or not. Let's just go. Or do you want to go after a big one? And so then you have to know kind of where to put in and who to go with and all that cool stuff.
All that stuff. And so generally when you're going, are you going DIY or are there outfitters that are helping you or how are you working that out?
Both. I've done
Both?
both. There there in New Mexico, there's a guy named Dustin Berg, and he has a cool organization called Global Opportunity Unlimited. And so if you draw or if you need any help out there in New Mexico, he's the guy. He has friends who'll help guide. You know, that's what he does. He takes people hunting free of charge. They do stuff in the off season. They just go mountain biking and they go fishing. He does so much cool stuff. I'm like, dude, I don't have time to do all that in Texas. Mainly because we got a lot of private land and you have to get permission to do all that cool stuff. But I was like, you do way more than I do. I just been doing it longer. But I want to get with him and go do a show with him. Probably it's either going to be a hunt or a fishing trip or both, because they fish those big giant deep lakes in New Mexico in the mountains, catch those giant lake trout and stuff. Like I got it, we can do that. That'll be super
Yeah.
cool.
And do you fish a lot?
I I should. I don't get to do it as much as I need to because we're close to the coast. So I grew up fishing the saltwater
Mhm. I
days.
like fishing the Gulf, yeah.
We had a trip planned deep sea, but I had to cancel. But I definitely want to film that because it's a whole different set of adaptive equipment to get out there and catch those big fish. But
Right.
but it's cool. There's a guy in the where Cabo San Lucas. If you go up on the inside on the Sea of Cortez,
Yeah.
there's a C5 quad. His name's Baja Larry, and he has his completely accessible operation, boats, everything, and lodging. He's got his own little private beach there, and they do offshore. So I want to go. I got big plans. I need to get some sponsors so we can go do all these cool shows and show people what's out there. Some of them you have to travel to do, but some of them are free local stuff. It's gonna be a mix of everything. There's so much.
Absolutely. And so do you currently have any sponsors or are you doing this all just on your own?
We've had a few along the way. So now Carbon TV, hopefully it'll give me some more firepower where I can get some more. But
Yeah.
there's a we've had some to keep us going for a couple years. So now after today, I'm gonna be really hitting people up.
Oh, I imagine you need to because it's not that costs money. I mean, it's not free to do everything. Even if you have a guide helping you that's going to volunteer, you still have to travel and you have to get food. And I mean, there's a lot that goes into that. So I hope that you will get some sponsors, so that you can keep the show going. I mean, it's hugely important. So,
That reminds me, I know you're hooked up with Beretta. I need to get with Beretta because there's only a couple of shotguns that I really like that really work for someone in my position. You know,
mhm.
it's Browning and Berettas. They're really super cool, and I, we grew up shooting shotguns. So, but whoever wants to get out there, whoever it is, we'll make it work. But those are my top two to start out with. So we'll see.
Absolutely.
Wish me
Yeah.
luck.
I am wishing you luck. I'm rooting for you because I think it's something that, as I said, it's so exciting to not only when I've learned that somebody is doing something, because there's a lot of people who don't have anything restricting their bodies and they have a hard time getting out there to go hunt. So it's like if you have this challenge and you're overcoming it, you're creating devices to overcome it. Like I think that is outstanding. And I hope that it'll inspire everybody, not just somebody who has a disability. But when you're doing all this creating and obviously like with Clifford Pfeiffer and getting ideas from him, what kind of things do you have that are available with the people you're taking out?
There's I have a bite trigger, which a lot of this stuff it's not really for sale. Like you can't go on Amazon and get it. There's a For a long time people were not making the bite triggers, which there's a sip and puff trigger. There is a company called Be Adaptive that makes that. It's kind of it needs to be a little more reliable, but it's like the only one available if you need that's for higher quad. And then there's bite trigger, which I had a friend of mine just started making that, and I was like, I need one just to have on hand. So either it's just like a bicycle brake. You're biting down, and the part that would work the bicycle brake is on the trigger guard and the trigger. So you just work it that way, or somebody sitting next to you can operate the trigger. You just operate the gun part. So we have that, and I've made a device. It's just a trigger puller that fits on the back of my hand and the back of my trigger finger. I don't know if you can show that in the camera. Just
Uh-huh.
because I don't have any grip at all. If you're a quad, you usually don't have any grip. So the guy took away my trigger finger from me. I just got it back from him. Over the course of like 10 years, I took a prototype and finally went to a orthotics doctor, and I kind of drew on my hand. I was like, this is what I want. Make it something out of, you know, he was good. He's going to make something out of hard plastic and reinforced wire and Velcro, because I was using tape and leather and tongue depressors and metal. And I was just tired of messing with it. And so from there, now, one of my buddies that I mentored, he's like me now. He's going to, he's 10 years in, and he's gung ho hunter. He's gonna carry my torch when I'm gone. And he's a welder. So anytime we
Oh.
get together, and I was like, okay, we need to do this. We need to make this. So we get together and make stuff on our own, or we'll take a product out there and make it a little better. So we got together on my trigger puller and found someone to carbon 3D print carbon fiber it. So that's a lot easier. Now we can print them for people who need them. So that and a chest strap, just a simple chest strap. So you don't fall on your face when you lift the gun up. It's hard to wing shoot that way
Oh, that makes sense.
because we don't have any trunk support usually. And even a lot of paras, if you broke your back and it's higher up on your back, you still don't have the trunk support. So you need like a chest strap to be able to wing shoot. I mean, shooting a rifle is a lot easier because you usually have a rest and you just roll under and shoot it that way. So shotgunning is my favorite. Obviously, I like the challenge now. That's why bow hunting was so much fun, because it was way more challenging in a chair.
And do you have devices for bow hunting as well?
Same ones, pretty much. Some of the tripods have gotten a lot better because you just have that squeeze handle and you can move it wherever you want it and let go and it's there. And it's a little easier to move around. We made some little semicircle PVC stands that will fit inside of a pop-up blind, it's perfect for a bow because you can just scoot the bow across the top wherever you want
Oh,
to move it. So that really helps out, and that's cheap. So sometimes if we can get by on the cheap, we're gonna do it.
absolutely. I just think it's outstanding. So tell us a little bit more about the debut of the show, where we can watch it, maybe where we can support it, and where we can find you.
You can find me on ableoutdoors.net. That's our main spot on the net, and now Carbon TV. We're on there today. If you just search Able Outdoors, you probably just if you go on the Carbon TV site, you're going to see us because they're going to do a little promotion for us for a while. And you either download the app on your phone, or if you have a smart TV, I think it's one of the apps. Just a free app on there, and you can find it. We
Yeah.
we have a YouTube channel. I dabble in what you do. I do some podcasts every once in a while, which is because I'll meet someone who's done a spectacular hunt or something, and I have to have them on. You I used to write stories. There was a guy who high quad electric chair went up to the Northwest Territories and caribou hunted.
Ooh, cool.
Pulled him around in a little cart behind a four wheeler. I was like, that is cool. I need to write your story. I want to go do that someday with the Outrider because it'll make a heck of a show to go pull off a hunt like that. And just stuff like that. We got some. I got some big ideas on the horizon. Just just to make it interesting because I think it's interesting to everybody. I would love to watch it just to see how that's possible. Because some things I'm like, how you'll see in the teal hunt show. I was like, how in the world do you do that? But it's doable. It's doable.
It's doable if everybody's able. I think it's outstanding. As I said, I can't imagine all of it, and it'd be awesome to be a fly on the wall in some of your adventures because I know you have had some great ones, and you're going to have even more, and you've experienced a lot of them with other people. So I think it's so awesome. But I also wanted to let the listeners know if you go to ableoutdoors.net, there's also a donate button where you can help support the show. So I think that is an important thing to help keep the show going. I know you're just getting started, but hopefully we can get some more seasons under there for you and for Ashley. And I will put a link in the show notes to your website and also to Carbon TV. So if there's anything else you would like to add before I let you go.
Yeah, you come down here and teal hunt with us anytime you want. You can come on our disabled group hunt and just be participate with us. That'd be pretty cool.
Awesome. I would love that. Thank you for the invite. Yeah. I appreciate you coming on the show and sharing this with my listeners. And I look forward to seeing you in person, maybe on a teal hunt or maybe at one of the trade shows in this coming year.
Oh, let's do it. I'm looking forward to it. My pleasure, Mia.
Hey, this is Lloyd Bailey, the Armed Lutheran, host of the Armed Lutheran Radio podcast, reminding you that the podcast you're listening to is a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network. Check out all the great content at selfdefenseradio.net.